Alright, so now we're moving to the second part of Module 2, which is your inner spark. So this part 2 is all about discovering what drives you, your real drivers. And we are starting with a lesson about passions and joys. So when was the last time you got so into something that you completely lost track of time? Like you looked up and hours had passed, but instead of feeling drained, you felt alive. Maybe it was when you were cooking, writing, hiking, playing a sport, painting, dancing, or even just having one of those deep conversations with a friend. Those moments, they are not just fun extras. They are clues. They are little flashes of the stuff that lights you up inside, your passions and joys. Now here's the thing. So many of us end up on autopilot. We do what is expected. We check things off the list. We keep life moving. But somewhere along the way, the things that truly excite us get pushed aside. And without those sparks, life can start to feel flat, even if everything looks fine on the outside. Knowing your passions and joys isn't just about having hobbies. It is about knowing what makes you feel most like yourself. It's about understanding where your energy naturally flows and using that to shape a life that actually fits you, not just a life that's fine or practical. So in this lesson, we are going to get curious about what makes you light up, what excites you, what gives you that deep sense of, yes, that is me. And by the end of this lesson, the aim is for you to walk away with a clear list of your own passions and joys, the things that make you feel most alive, so you can start adding more of them into your life. So let's get started. We will start by looking at the definition of passions and joys. Then we will see why they matter for authenticity, and then we will see the impact of knowing them. And finally, the workbook exercises will help you identify your own passions and joys. Passions and joys are the activities, interests, and experiences that naturally excite, energize, and fulfill you. They are the things that make you feel most alive, often pursued not for external rewards or approval, but because they bring deep personal meaning, curiosity, or pleasure. Turning into your passions and joys helps you connect with your authentic self and creates a sense of vitality, purpose, and emotional well-being. Knowing your passions and joys encourages authentic living because it reconnects you with what genuinely excites and fulfills you, rather than what you have been told should matter. When you are aware of what lights you up, you begin to make choices that reflect your true interests, not just your obligations or others' expectations. This fuels motivation from within, not from the pressure or approval, and it helps you set more meaningful goals and brings a natural sense of purpose into your life. And the impact is that you feel more alive, engaged, and aligned with who you really are. You stop suppressing parts of yourself to fit in, and instead you start creating a life that reflects your uniqueness, creativity, and inner spark. And in this way, joy and passion become not just nice to have, but essential elements pointing you towards your most authentic self. Alright, so here are the consequences of knowing your passions and joys. More alignment between your inner life and daily experience. When you recognize your passions and joys, your daily choices and activities begin to reflect what truly excites and fulfills you. This alignment reduces feelings of emptiness or dissatisfaction, creating a life that feels vibrant and meaningful. As a result, you feel energized and engaged rather than drained or bored. Your actions naturally express your true self, not just what is expected. And you experience a deeper sense of satisfaction and happiness in everyday life. So let's use painting as an example to illustrate knowing versus not knowing your passion. So let's say you don't know that painting is a passion of yours. So before knowing that, you rarely make time for painting because you feel that it's just a hobby or not practical. But after discovering that is actually a core passion for you, you then start to dedicate weekly time to painting, allowing yourself to fully enjoy the creative process. And as a result, You feel more energized and connected to yourself, and your daily life feels richer and more balanced. When you know your passions and joys, you also have increased motivation and resilience. Passions act as an internal fuel, making it easier to stay committed throughout challenges. And when you are connected to what you love, setbacks feel less discouraging because you are working towards something that matters deeply. And the impact is that you are more persistent and optimistic when facing obstacles. You also rely less on external rewards or validation to keep going. And you find joy even in the effort, not just the outcome. So let's use the example of running to illustrate knowing it's your passion versus not knowing it. So when you don't know it is your passion, you might quit running after a few tries because it feels too hard and you don't see quick results. But if you have done the work and discovered that running is your core passion, then you keep running regularly because it brings you joy and mental clarity, regardless of pace or distance. And as a result, you develop stronger self-discipline and bounce back more easily from setbacks, knowing that running fuels your well-being. Another consequence of knowing your passions and joys is more authentic relationships. Living in tune with passions attract people who resonate with your genuine interests and values. And this fosters connections based on shared enthusiasm and mutual respect. As a result, you build friendships and partnerships where you can be fully yourself. You experience less pressure to hide or change who you are to fit in. And finally, your social circle becomes a source of inspiration and support. Let's use playing music as an example to illustrate knowing it is your core passion versus not knowing it. When you don't know it, you might hide your love of playing guitar around friends who don't share your interests. But after having done the work and discovered and identified that playing music is your core passion, then you might join a local music group and openly share your passion with like-minded people. And as a result, you build deeper friendships with people who celebrate your true interests, and you feel more accepted and confident. A sense of purpose and fulfillment also comes from knowing your passions and joys. Passions and joys connect you to a deeper purpose beyond external achievements or approval. They help you understand what truly matters to you and guide you toward a fulfilling life path. As a result, you feel a clear sense of direction and meaning in your goals. Your work and hobbies feel rewarding and aligned with your identity. And finally, you experience a greater sense of wholeness and contentment in your life. Let's use teaching as an example to illustrate knowing it is your core passion versus not knowing it. So if you don't know, if you have not identified that teaching is your core passion, then you might work in a job you don't enjoy, ignoring your love for helping others. But after you have identified that teaching is one of your core passions, you might volunteer as a tutor or take a step toward a teaching role, even if it's part-time. And as a result, you feel renewed purpose and satisfaction, knowing your daily actions align with what you truly care about. And finally, knowing your joys and passions give you the freedom to choose your own path. Knowing what truly brings you joy helps you say no to obligations, roles, or expectations that do not fit your authentic self. It empowers you to craft a life on your own terms. And as a result, you break free from shoulds and external pressures. You make choices that honor your unique passions, even if they differ from others' expectations. And finally, you feel empowered to live boldly and unapologetically. And let's use traveling to illustrate knowing it is your core passion versus not knowing it. So if you don't know that traveling is a core passion of yours, you might avoid travel because your social circle values stability and settling down. But after you have identified that traveling is a core passion of yours, then you start to plan trips that excite you, balancing travel with other life responsibilities. And as a result, You feel empowered making choices based on your passion, living a life that feels uniquely yours rather than shaped by others' expectations. Alright, so now it is your turn to identify your own passions and joys. So again, before doing the exercises, I encourage you to read the grid of passions and joys, knowing them versus not knowing them. So here you will find different examples of those core passions and beliefs, and you can use them as inspiration to do the exercises. So the first exercise will help you identify your core passions before life's expectations and rules started to cloud them. So it will help you reconnect with your childhood interests. The second exercise will help you identify what gives you energy versus what drains you. The fourth exercise will help you list things that you do or do not want and help you recognize if they are coming from yourself or external influences. And the last exercise will take you through an ideal day visualization where you can imagine a day without fears, limits, or expectations. And this will help you put light on your true passions and joys. Again, don't forget to write down any aha moments you might have had during this lesson on page 7 of the workbook.